Hello everyone, Sonley here, and welcome back to another episode of Truly Bedrock Season 2. I hope you're doing great today. In the last episode, we set up two massive mob farms above the base. You can kind of see them there. And in today's episode, we're going to finish building those mob farms, get ourselves a bunch of experience, and a bunch of gunpowder and other lovely drops as well. But in between episodes, we've done a little bit of work on some preliminary decoration, just trying to figure out how things are going to work for decorating this entire area, and trying to bring our scale model vision to life. But that's going to be more the focus of the end of today's episode, and I'll explain what in the world is happening with all of that stuff. But for right now, we need to tie the space together. We need to get a bunch of drops, and we need to focus on some technical Minecraft. So right now we have two entire mob farms that are completely built up and ready to go. We got one right here on the west side, and then one on the east side as well. And we are going to try and finish these up before we run out of rockets. These are my last 29 rockets, and these are two massive farms that happen to produce gunpowder. So yeah, we're gonna try and get these running before I completely run out of the ability to fly. Really, all I need to do is I need to install some Impaling 5 tridents into all four of these trident killers. I need to set up some water streams for delivering all of the drops and experience to that platform right there, which is where we're going to be AFKing. And then I also need to set up some proper storage for the squid farm as well. This thing is going to be running the entire time that we are standing at the AFK spot, so it's going to be giving us a lot of ink and a fair amount of bones and a lot of fish as well, as you can tell from the storage system. Obviously, we've already emptied out all the fish because, you know, we don't really need those things. So yeah, we need to get some extended storage, and basically we just need to finish up and tie together these two little projects. Lucky for us, we are in the middle of an ocean, so I've killed like 1,000 different drowns in this area, and we have all of the tridents that we could ever need. Now, I kind of want to use some full durability tridents for the trident killers. Of course, you don't need to do that because they never lose durability, but I feel like being very fancy today, so we're going to use some full durability tridents. Now, I happen to have all the resources required for a grindstone as well, so we can go ahead and repair these dudes. Honestly, the grindstone, one of the best things in the game. And now we got two full durabilities. I should have a lot more of these things around. Where did I put them all? These chests are not organized. There's two more. Okay, great. That's all we need. Now we need to get some Impaling 5 as well. And also, luckily for us, Liara happens to have, like, built the entire villager trading hall and has literally every different enchantment book at the max level available to us. So we can go trade with any of these villagers, and one of the dudes in this very noisy place has a Impaling 5 projectile. Oh yes, Impaling. Here we go. Cool. So you are my new favorite person. 1 emerald. Great. It's only going to cost 4 emeralds. And easy peasy. Villager trading halls are literally one of the best things you can invest in Minecraft, because then you just get the easiest gear in the world. Seriously, it's so nice. Like, I've actually made, like, a lot of gear off camera. And this is the power of Impaling 5. You can just one-hit kill all these guys. He was holding so many of my sea lanterns. Ridiculous. I'll take those back. Anyway, now we can just throw one of these tridents into either of these trident killers, and we'll be good to go for automatic experience and looting. Oh, hi. There's no glass block right there. That was about to be very bad. Can I one-hit kill you guys as well? Yes, thank you. Okay, goodbye. You are no longer welcome here. Impaling trident, seal that thing up, and cool. Just preparing to install the water streams now, and we need to do this in a kind of specific way. That way we don't ruin the squid farm. So squids can't have any solid blocks above them, otherwise they will not spawn. So anywhere that is above those magma blocks, basically, we have to use regular ice, because that is a non-solid block, and that should allow the squids to spawn underneath it inside of the farm. I realized that, like, using packed ice here wouldn't really be that big of a deal, because we wouldn't lose that many spawning spaces, but I'm trying to be proper and legit here, and trying to be the smart person that I am not. So, yeah, we're going to install a bunch of the regular ice, and then no light sources, because then it'll all just melt, and that would be very, very bad. Oh, look at that. We got our first pieces of gunpowder from the farm. Very nice. Give me that. I do need some more rockets. I'm down to 12. Water streams and water elevator is finally done being installed, and I have a total of like 6 rockets to my name. So we are actually nearing completion. I just need to install a redstone line to actually activate all 4 of the trident killers, and then we'll be done for getting the second account onto the server and being able to use the farm. Also, things are spawning on my roof up there. Just working on getting the redstone line installed, and I've noticed 2 things. 1, there's no weather sounds, like, at all. Like, there's just no rain. No rain sounds. And 2, I'm being watched by this dude up here. He was looking over the edge menacingly at me. So the farm should be active as of right now. So if we fly up to the AFK spot, we should start to see a few different items come up the water stream. Either, you know, flesh or hopefully some gunpowder. Please, I need some rockets for the life of me. And then we should also see some experience as well. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of experience coming along the water stream. Also, we got an iron golem over there. That's not good. I need to deal with that at some point. But yeah, this thing is actually fully working now, so I'm gonna get the second account on the server, and then he can go AFK, and then we can go fix up some other areas of the base and builds. So this is the final rocket that I have to my name, and that is the final rocket I need to finish up this mob farm. So the final thing that I need to do is I need to slightly adjust this redstone line. So we're gonna put a solid block right there, and then we're gonna put a repeater right there just to continue that redstone line down far enough to power that redstone line, to unpower a redstone torch, to turn on the trident killers, and now the farm is actually running. And then all I need to do is install a little bit of item collection right here, and that's gonna be very simple as well. Just break out that thing, put that right there. Hey, gunpowder, fantastic. We're going to go ahead and put a chest for storage, and finally a hopper, which is then powered by that pressure plate. That was a terrible idea. Why did I ever think that that was gonna work? And now we install the storage. Right? Yeah, we got things in there. Fantastic. Okay, so mob farm is done. I only used 29 rockets to construct it, and we officially have a source of gunpowder on the server. Fantastic. Now that this dude is here AFKing, I'm gonna go ahead and work on the squid farms a little bit. So this thing is basically just gonna be running in the background, giving this dude more experience as if he doesn't need it. Like, he's got 450 levels. So that's a cool thing. Also, I should probably switch over to my looting sword, since that is actually going to give us the looting 3 effect. Okay, so don't laugh at me, but there's 2 things that are kind of silly about this situation. 1, I only put 2 of the tridents into the farm, so we still got another 2 sitting here. And that's my actual trident. Where did the other impaling 5 trident go? Oh no, okay, so I guess I lost 1. And then I left all my gunpowder all the way up there at the top, and I can't get back up there, so I'm stuck down here for a minute. Well, the good news is this thing is already producing a fair amount of gunpowder, as you can see from the chest, 27 in just a couple of minutes, so that is pretty solid. Honestly, I way prefer building a general hostile mob farm over a creeper only farm, because at least with these farms, you get a lot more experience, and you get all of the string, you get all the bones, the spider eyes, the flesh that you can trade to clerics, and then if you really want to, you can also smelt down like the chain and the iron and the gold things for the nuggets. You could use the bows. That's got Unbreaking 3 on it. That's actually kind of, I'll take that real quick. And yeah, there's quite a few decent things that you get from a general hostile mob farm. A lot of it might seem like junk, but there's a use for basically literally everything in this game, even if it does seem a little bit silly. They've done a fairly good job of making sure that everything can be used for something. I went ahead and installed a little bit of additional storage for the squid farm, and basically now we got 4 double chests instead of 1 double chest. Oh yeah, we're moving up in the world over here. You can see that we actually do have quite a bit of ink and stuff. This bow is from the mob farm. I threw that in there accidentally. It's going pretty well, actually. You can see that we're getting very, very little fish as well because of the AFK spot that Soylent 2 is currently at. And what is that drown doing in the walkway? And what is he holding? I have so many questions. Many questions indeed. Regardless of that, we also have other storage on this side too that we can check out real quickly. This side is significantly louder, isn't it? So yeah, you can see that we got lots and lots of ink. This is very, very good to see. I like to see this many, many much. So if we do like an overnight AFK session, we're gonna have a lot of bones, seriously like a lot, and then we're gonna have a ton of ink sacs as well that we can then use for dark prismarine, and we can finally start building out of dark prismarine. It's gonna be beautiful. I might have secretly had a reason, well, another reason to get this mob farm going, and that is for a little teeny tiny source of gunpowder. Oh, hey, look at that. We actually got a zombie villager head. Cool. I guess we are using looting 3, and this is a player kill farm. So yeah, we should get a couple mob heads from this. Very cool. Anyway, so we need ourselves a little bit of a TNT for some reasons, because we are creating a little bit of a care package for somebody. So the second account has been on the server AFKing for quite a while, and we now have quite a few drops from the mob farm. Not like a super ton or anything, but a pretty decent amount of gunpowder. I've already used a lot of stacks of this stuff as well. I've been throwing away all the flesh and the armor and the tools and weapons and stuff, and we've actually been getting speed and health potions from the witches, which is very interesting stuff. I don't actually know how you get swiftness potions, but apparently my witch farm produces them sometimes, randomly. I really don't know how it happens. Maybe it's just like a random thing that they do, but cool. We now have a swiftness potion farm, and if we ever want to, we can also go set up a witch farm somewhere on the server too. Oh, by the way, unrelated to this, we actually have a new member on the server. MaraBellJade has joined the Truly Bedrock crew, and we're happy to have her on the server. Now, she only does live streaming. She's actually our first ever stream-only person, so you won't see any episodes from them. However, if you can't catch them live over on their Twitch channel, then they do actually upload their VODs to YouTube. And definitely go check them out. Say hi. Tell them that the Truly Bedrock community sent you over, because they are now one of us. One of us. So yeah, definitely go hang out with them and check out their content. We're very glad to have them on the server and to hang out with them and do some fun things with them. Now, unrelated to that unrelated thing, which is unrelated to what we're currently doing, we're trying to find a portal somewhere in this part of the Nether Hub. This is like the very far end of the Nether Hub that hasn't been completed, and probably won't because no one lives down here. I'm looking for a portal that leads out to around, where's the coordinates at? Hold on, let me see. I need a portal that goes to 4300 by negative 1200, and it should be around here somewhere, if there even is one. If there isn't one, then I have obsidian. I can create nether portals. Okay, turns out there should be a portal at around 539, negative 150, so that is where I'm making my way right now. Hopefully we find some more ancient debris, because I need all the ancient debris I can get. I have a lot of diamond things, and I don't use diamond things, so I'm gonna turn them into netherite at some point. Now then again, we did just get the mob farm going, and Silent 2 is still AFKing over there, so maybe at some point in the future I can create a bunch of gunpowder from the mob farm, and then we can turn that into more TNT, and then eventually we can go do some more ancient debris mining. I haven't done ancient debris mining in months, and I really need to do some more. Okay, so positive 539, negative 150. This is the spot right here. And here we go. We are on a beautiful little mushroom island. I need to find myself a little teeny tiny spot to leave this shulker box. Aha, actually right here. That is some pretty solid portal placement, if I do say so myself. So we're just gonna leave this little shulker right here full of these materials for a mysterious stranger. And now it is time where I finally explain what in the world is going on with all this netherrack nonsense behind us and why the base is looking so terribly, terribly ugly. Well, let me explain real quick. Give me a minute to get some thoughts out of my brain and into the video. So basically, this is like a prototype, temporary kind of mock-up of what the base might look like partially once it's actually decorated. Besides that right there, that's like a really bad looking crane thing, just ignore that completely. That's nothing. What we want to focus on is this stuff over here. So we built it out of netherrack simply because it's really easy to remove, and it also is not going to blend in with the prismarine or literally anything else that we built. So that's kind of why we built it out of netherrack. Now you can see that we have one of these spiral arms in place, and we're going to have 4 of these in total, connecting up each of the iron farms to the bottom of the squid farm right here. And of course that's going to create a pretty big spiral on the underside of that platform, which will then connect itself going downwards to these helixes that we have on the underside down here. Now you can see these helixes are actually looking pretty smooth, even though they are built out of the netherrack. Now, I talked to Zoe about how to build helixes, and he was basically like, a helix is just a circle that got lost. And yeah, it really is. You just build a circle, and then I've been going up 1 block for every single block, and it's actually turning out pretty cool. So these need to go up 64 blocks tall in order to connect it to the bottom of that thing, and then they'll connect to the larger spirals that eventually connect to the iron farms. Now, the helixes at the bottom will also connect together to these little circles that we're going to have. We're going to have concentric circles going out and getting larger the further out that they are, of course. So we'll even have another one that connects the very outside edges of the bamboo farm and the kelp farm. So again, if you haven't seen it, this is the scale model of the base. This is basically a 1/4 scale model. Every 4x4 is 1 chunk. And as you can see, we got like the squid farm right there represented. The large square right there on the bottom is the guardian farm. We got the AFK spots and then the mob farms. And as you can see, it's a pretty well spitten image of the larger base over there. It really is coming along quite well. So I'm going to go ahead and build up a couple more of these spirals. These things are actually, well, they're not technically spirals. They're helixes. And we have 4 of them on each cardinal direction. Now, these things are actually really easy to build. So this is basically a 22 diameter circle, and every single block of the circle, you just go up by a block. So eventually, you have this pretty decent looking little helix going all the way up to the area. So I would like to extend these going upwards, and I would also like to try getting one of these spiral arms properly installed as well. And if we can figure out how to do that, like with the basics of netherrack, then we can really figure out how to build it properly out of the real blocks. Now, circles and spirals and helixes and roundy, curvy things, they kind of bend my brain in ways that they're not intended to be bent. That's why we're taking baby steps on this entire project. Go slow, that way you do it right and you don't mess things up. Working on some more of the helixes right now, and these things are actually surprisingly simple. Like, I've gotten to the point where I've actually memorized how to build them. And of course, naturally, with these kinds of projects, as soon as you start to memorize how to do something, that means that you are directly at the end of the project and you no longer need to remember how to do it. It really is quite the silly, stupid thing that just happens to me like all the time. So that is basically how the helixes are built. It really isn't like that complicated at all. Again, it's just a 22 diameter circle, and the netherrack is the actual like circle blocks. I'm just using the prismarine for fillers because we can instant mine all of this. And then normally, like, you would have a straight section of 6 blocks for the edges, but that actually looks really weird when you're viewing all of the helixes from a cardinal direction. When you're viewing it from a diagonal direction, it doesn't really look that bad. So I've decided to pop out the, you know, straight line of 6 instead of have it be a little bit more curved. And now when we look at this from a distance, there isn't really any weird flat sections. Now, a lot of this will still look quite strange, and that is because the prismarine has not been placed perfectly. But again, this is just like a loose general framework of what the helixes, or helices, will actually look like when they are completed. And honestly, it is actually coming together pretty well. It does look better than I expected. It's got some shapes to it, it's got some spirals to it, and overall, I am liking the direction that this is going. So that is the basic process for the helixes. However, there's also the spirals, And that took an extreme amount of time to actually figure out. Again, these things are wibbly wobbly and timey-wimey and just all kinds of issues. So this right here is a manufactured spiral using a spiral generator that I will show you in just a moment. And then on the other side of this, we have a hand-built spiral, which actually turned out pretty decent for me, just kind of like completely freehanding it. So you can see my hand-built spiral right there. Honestly, not too terrible. Obviously, parts of it are on fire because well, iron golems and, you know, reasons. It's fine, don't worry about it. There's no real good way to show both of them at one time unless we fly up into the air, and as you can see, the one on the left is the hand-built, and the one on the right is the manufactured, and honestly, they both do look pretty decent, don't they? I'm quite happy with the hand-built one, but of course, we're going to be using the manufactured spirals that you can see on the right-hand side there. So I really just need to build another 3 of these connecting every single one of the iron farms to the underside of the squid farm. Now, this is actually a couple blocks lower than it should be, just so I could, like, you know, easily build it, because this is kind of like the 3rd iteration and attempt at building a spiral. So basically, the spirals are going to go all the way around and connect to the sides of the iron farms, as you saw over there, and then it's going to connect to the tops of the helixes over here as well, kind of similar to this, and it's going to connect up to that block right there, which is the very top of the helix, and then of course that's going to go all the way down to the bottom of the base as well. So basically it's going to be one giant spiral helix thingy that's round and has curves. Words. You know what I'm trying to say. You get the idea. Now, sometimes when you're building things, you just run into absolute perfect symmetry and things just work out and everything is just aligned absolutely perfectly, and that is kind of the situation with this base as well. So these helixes are exactly 64 blocks tall from this block right here all the way to the very bottom of the squid farm. And if I can land up here real quick, I can show you where they end, and bam, perfect. So yeah, right from the top of the circle down there to this block is 64 blocks tall, incredibly convenient, but also the spiral arms are going to be 64 blocks long as well, since from this block right here, which is where the spirals need to connect to in order to touch the helixes, all the way to the iron farms, that is actually exactly 64 blocks as well, and that was not really planned for, it just happened to happen that way. So yeah, right to here, right where it needs to end up touching the iron farm, is exactly 64 blocks. Kind of perfect symmetry, really. So this right here is the generator that we used for figuring out how to create the spirals, and it's not actually as like intuitive as you might think. It's very difficult to count this, so yeah, we had to mess around with it quite a bit. So even though that is a 64 block, you know, distance from the end of where we want the spiral to be to where the iron farms are, you don't need a 64 diameter spiral, which is weird. You need a 96 diameter spiral. So you take the diameter and then you times it by half of itself. So 64 and 32, that gives you 96. And this is the proper size spiral that we have for the base. Now, we're not going to be really using this little tail end right here, and we're not using this central area right here either. We're going to cut that off because the iron farms are right here in this area, and the end of the helixes are right here in this area. So we're not going to be using this entire thing. We will be using a different spiral for that later on in the build process. So this is the sequin spiral generator. It also has some really interesting shape generators on it as well. Overall, pretty cool tool that I did not realize existed until recently. And then we're also using the Donut Studios circle generator as well, which is incredibly convenient for all of these circles that we are using around the base, because you can just pop in the diameter of your circle, you can make it an oval, which is cool, and you can do all kinds of other interesting things like that as well. Overall, very powerful tools. Would recommend them for anyone doing symmetry related things. You are feeling compelled to press the YouTube buttons. You want to subscribe to the Silent Whisperer YouTube channel. You want to subscribe now. And if you're already subscribed, you want to subscribe to the Silent 2 channel, because that's basically the same thing. I'm running out of shameless promotions. You should leave a like. Hypnosis aside, I am still on the lookout for a good helix generator, because I'm not entirely sure how to add additional blocks to these. Right now, they're basically only a single block wide if you don't count the prismarine, and I'm not sure how to add like additional blocks to them, because ideally these would be like 3 blocks thick or so. So if you know of a good helix generator, let me know on Twitter or Discord. The main challenge for the base going forward is actually figuring out how to decorate all of this and how to actually make it look good. Now that we're getting the foundations in place, we know that yes, this is actually a thing that we can build. We know that it will be cohesive and work together pretty well, and that our ideas on the scale model will actually work out on the full scale. We need to figure out exactly how to decorate the circles, the helixes, the spirals, and the mob farms in general. So of course, if you have any ideas or suggestions or comments about how to do that, let me know absolutely everywhere. You can see that this is still our build palette using the warped woods and stripped woods, all of the black stones, and of course all of the prismarine items, the blue ices and the packed ices, and of course the glass. So it's a pretty solid build palette. We just need to combine it in a way that makes it look good with this modern, symmetrical, like very, very symmetrical base. Honestly, it probably isn't that difficult. I'm just not very confident when it comes to building. So I just realized that I live next to a coral reef, and that is not something that I was aware of. We can get a lot of coral fans from over here, and that is going to be very helpful for the mob farms, because I kind of forgot to add the coral fans to the mob farms. Also, there's like another farming area over here that I literally had no idea existed until today as well. They got themselves a mob farm with a magma block killing floor. They got a squid farm that's miniature. They got a little mini iron farm and some storage as well. I don't know, it's pretty cool, but I think our base is maybe a little bit better. Not that that's a competition or anything. Farming areas are just fun and I enjoy them. And with that, that is going to do it for today's episode of Truly Bedrock Season 2. I hope that you have greatly enjoyed. Of course, if you have, make sure to leave a like on the video. It significantly helps out the video, the series, and the channel as a whole, and I really do greatly appreciate it. If you're new here, then consider subscribing so you don't miss future episodes, and otherwise, I'll see you all down in the comment section and in the next one. And then there was silence.